All right, so if you're listening to this, you're probably on the hunt for the perfect video editing laptop in 2024.
Yeah, and there are so many options out there.
There really are. We've got research here on 7 of them, from these like super powerful Macs
to some surprisingly capable Windows machines.
You would be surprised at what some of these Windows laptops can do.
It's true.
So this deep dive is all about figuring out which one of these laptops is right for you and your editing style.
Yeah, what's been really interesting to me is how the laptop market has like totally shifted in the past few years.
What do you mean?
Well, we're seeing way more power in these smaller packages these days.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And even laptops that are like specifically designed for gaming can be like secret weapons for video editing.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just about the brand name anymore.
Not at all.
It's about understanding like all the little nuances of each machine.
Exactly.
Okay, let's jump right in with like a classic choice, right?
Okay.
The 2021 Apple MacBook Pro 14-inch.
Oh.
Reviews are like glowing for this thing.
Yeah.
Users are praising its speed and like that stunning display.
Yeah, that display is incredible.
Yeah, one professional colorist even said that its color accuracy rivals their like calibrated studio monitor.
Oh, wow.
That is high praise.
Yeah, they don't give out praise like that very easily.
That's true.
Yeah.
So what is it about this MacBook Pro that makes it so special?
Well, one of the big things is that M1 Pro chip. Okay. It's not just like a speed boost or whatever. It's a whole new architecture.
Oh, why?
That was designed for tasks like video editing. Users are reporting like significantly faster rendering times compared to the older Intel-based Macs.
So it's a big jump in performance.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Nice. And then on top of that, you get something like 17 hours of battery life.
Yeah, almost a full workday of editing on a single charge.
17 hours. That's wild.
It is pretty impressive.
Especially for a machine that's this powerful.
Right.
Speaking of power, let's talk about the Acer Predator Helios 300. Now, this one might seem like kind of an unusual choice for video editing.
I can see that.
Because it's marketed as a gaming laptop.
Right.
But hear me out. Here's why that's actually a good thing.
Okay, I'm listening.
So tell me a little bit about what makes this a good choice.
Well, a lot of the features that make the Predator Helios 300 great for gaming also benefit video editors.
Nice.
The 144 hertz refresh rate, for example, isn't just about like smooth gameplay.
Yeah.
It gives you this like super responsive editing experience.
Oh, just
so imagine you're like scrubbing through this complex timeline, right?
Okay.
With a 144 hertz display, every frame is like crisp and clear.
So you can really like hone in on the details.
Exactly. It makes it way easier to find the perfect cut and eliminate motion blur.
That's really cool. So you're saying like a higher refresh rate is almost like having a more responsive like tool.
Kind of, yeah. It just feels more immediate and precise.
Okay, that makes sense. But I've heard gaming laptops can be a little bit much. You know?
What do you mean?
Like loud fans, bulky designs. Are those concerns valid here?
It's true that some users have mentioned the Predator's fan noise and its battery life as like potential downsides.
I see.
Yeah, it's like that classic power versus portability trade-off.
Right.
You know, that robust cooling system.
Yeah.
It's necessary to keep all those high-end components from like overheating.
Okay.
But it does come at the cost of some battery life.
So what are we looking at here?
You're looking at around like 5 to 6 hours of real-world use.
Okay.
Which is significantly less than the MacBook Pro.
Yeah, 17 hours to 5 hours. That's a big difference.
It is.
So it really comes down to what you value more: portability and all-day battery life.
Right.
Or raw power.
Yeah.
And a super responsive display.
It's a tough choice.
It is. Now let's switch gears to something a bit more budget-friendly. The HP newest Essential 15.
Oh, yeah. A good option for those who are looking for value.
Tell me about it.
This laptop is a great example of how you don't have to like break the bank to get a decent video editing machine.
It's always nice to save some money.
Absolutely. And what's particularly appealing about this one is its combination of a 1 TB hard drive and a 256 GB solid-state drive.
Ooh. Combined storage solution.
Exactly.
That's got to be a huge relief for editors who are constantly struggling with hard drive space.
I know, right? It gives you tons of space for storing those large video files.
Right.
And the SSD ensures snappy performance for things like loading projects and previewing edits.
That's a really nice touch.
Yeah, it makes a big difference.
But I see this HP model uses an Intel Pentium processor. Will that be enough for like demanding video editing tasks?
That's a good question and something to consider for sure.
Okay.
The Pentium processor is definitely capable of handling basic HED video editing, especially if you're working with less demanding codecs.
Right.
However, if you're planning on editing like 4K footage or using like effects-heavy software, you might run into some performance bottlenecks.
So it's a solid option for beginners or those working on simpler projects. Yeah, I think so.
But maybe not for professionals or those dealing with resource-intensive edits.
Probably not the best choice for those folks.
All right, next up we have the Dell Inspiron 15.
Okay.
Now this one seems to have some mixed reviews.
Yeah, it's kind of a mixed bag.
Tell me about it. What's going on with the Inspiron 15?
So the Dell Inspiron 15 is a little bit of an enigma. Some users absolutely love it.
Okay.
They praise its sleek design and the decent performance you get for the price.
I can see that.
But then others report issues with lag.
Oh no.
Especially when multitasking or working with like complex video projects.
Ooh, that's not good.
Yeah. And there are also concerns about Dell's customer service.
That's never something you want to hear.
Right. It's important to have good support when you're investing in a laptop.
Absolutely. So maybe not the most reliable choice.
It's hard to say for sure.
Especially if you value peace of mind and responsive customer support.
Definitely something to keep in mind.
It sounds like user reviews are going to be crucial for this one. Absolutely. Real-world experiences often reveal things that specs sheets just don't.
Oh, for sure. Okay, speaking of real-world experiences, let's circle back to Apple for a moment.
Okay.
And look at the 2019 MacBook Pro 16-inch.
Ah, the classic.
This model was like a favorite among video editors for years.
It really was.
But how does it hold up in 2024?
That's the question, isn't it?
Especially compared to the newer M1 Pro models.
Well, the 2019 MacBook Pro is still a very capable machine.
Okay, good.
Especially if you can find a good deal on a used or refurbished model.
Oh, that's a good tip.
It boasts a stunning 16-inch display.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
Which is a dream for video editors who need that extra screen real estate.
It's a game changer for some people.
It really is. However, it does use an older Intel processor.
Okay.
So you won't see the same level of performance as the 2021 model with that M1 Pro chip.
Right. So maybe not the fastest on the market anymore.
True.
But that large display is still a major selling point for some editors.
Absolutely. For some, it's essential.
And hey, sometimes a slightly older model can be a great way to save some money.
Couldn't agree more. It's all about finding that sweet spot between performance features and price.
Exactly. Now, before we move on to the last two laptops, I'm curious about something. You mentioned earlier that even gaming laptops can be good for video editing.
Yeah.
What about the other way around? Could someone use a video editing laptop for gaming?
That's a great question. The answer is it depends.
Okay.
Some video editing laptops, especially those with dedicated graphics cards, can handle like casual gaming just fine.
Okay.
But they might not be ideal for the latest AAA games with like super demanding graphics settings.
So while there's some overlap,
yeah,
it's still important to choose a laptop that's specifically geared towards like your primary use case.
Exactly.
Whether that's video editing or gaming. Makes sense. Now, let's dive into the next laptop on our list.
Sounds good. Okay, so let's talk about a laptop that often flies under the radar.
Okay.
The Lenovo V50.
Oh, V50.
It's not as flashy as some of the other models we've talked about,
right,
but it offers a really solid set of features at a very attractive price point.
So kind of like that HP newest Essential 15, but maybe with a different flavor.
Yeah, I think that's a fair comparison.
What sets the Lenovo V15 apart then?
Well, one thing that really stands out to me is its emphasis on security.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
The V15 includes a physical webcam shutter.
Oh, nice.
For like added privacy and a fingerprint reader for secure login.
So you can really lock things down.
Exactly. No, these features might not be like directly related to video editing.
Right.
But they can be super valuable for anyone who's concerned about data protection.
Especially these days when data privacy is more important than ever.
For sure.
So it's a good option for editors who handle sensitive footage.
Yeah.
Or work with confidential client projects.
Absolutely. It's like having a built-in security system for your work.
I like that. Okay, so let's wrap up our laptop lineup with a machine that's all about style and innovation.
Okay.
The Asus ZenBook 13 Ultra Slim.
Oh, this is a cool one.
I've heard a lot about this one. It's got that futuristic second screen, right?
Yes.
The ScreenPad?
The ScreenPad 2.0. It's essentially a secondary touch screen that replaces the traditional touchpad. Some users find it a little gimmicky.
Okay.
But others absolutely love it for multitasking and boosting productivity.
I could see how it would be helpful for video editing.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Imagine having your timeline controls,
Yeah.
your effects panels,
Yeah.
or even like reference images right there on the screen pad.
Exactly. It's like having this mini control panel right at your fingertips.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah, but it does come with a learning curve.
Okay.
And some users have reported that it can be a bit finicky at times.
I see.
It's definitely a feature you'll want to try out in person before you commit.
So not for everyone, but potentially a game changer for those who can integrate it into their workflow.
I think so.
Wow. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
From Mac to Windows, from powerhouses to budget picks. There's a lot to consider.
A lot to think about.
Maybe we should take a step back for a second and talk about some key decision-making factors when choosing a video editing laptop.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's start with the most fundamental question. What type of video editing will you actually be doing?
Right.
Are you a hobbyist working on short YouTube videos? Are you a student learning the ropes?
Yeah.
Or are you like a professional editor dealing with complex projects and high-resolution footage?
Because a laptop that's great for basic editing might not cut it for 4K video.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The demands on the hardware are just totally different.
Right.
For example, if you're editing 4K footage or using effects-heavy software like Adobe After Effects, you'll need a laptop with a really powerful processor, ample RAM, and a dedicated graphics card.
Okay, so processing power is crucial. What about storage?
Yeah.
I know video files can eat up space quickly.
Storage is another super critical factor.
Yeah.
You'll want to consider both the size
And the type of storage.
What do you mean?
Well, a solid-state drive.
SSD.
Yeah, an SSD is much faster than a traditional hard drive.
HDD.
Right, which means quicker loading times and smoother playback.
So SSD is the way to go if you can afford it.
Ideally, yes.
Okay.
However, SSDs tend to be more expensive per gigabyte than HDDs.
Right, makes sense.
So a good compromise is to have a smaller SSD for your operating system and your frequently used application.
Okay.
And then a larger HDD for storing your video library.
So kind of a hybrid approach.
Exactly. It's a good way to balance performance and affordability.
That makes sense. Now, what about software?
Oh, yeah. Good point.
Does it matter if you're using Final Cut Pro, Adobe Premiere Pro, or DaVinci Resolve?
It absolutely does. Some software like Final Cut Pro is exclusive to Mac OS,
Right.
while others like Adobe Premiere Pro and DaVinci Resolve are available for both Mac and Windows. So you'll want to choose a laptop that's compatible with your preferred software.
Right, and can handle its demands.
It would make sense to buy a powerful Windows laptop if you're like a die-hard Final Cut Pro user.
Exactly. Compatibility is key.
So we've got processing power, storage, software compatibility.
What else? And let's not forget about budget.
Oh, right. Yeah, of course.
Laptops can range in price from a few $100s to several thousand.
That's a big range.
It is. It's important to set a realistic budget and stick to it.
Don't worry, we've got options for every budget in this deep dive.
We do.
We've covered the powerhouses, the budget picks, and everything in between.
It's a good mix.
But I think it's also important to talk about those like less tangible factors. Like design and user experience.
You're absolutely right. A laptop is more than just a collection of specs.
Totally.
It's a tool that you'll be spending hours interacting with.
Yeah, for sure.
So comfort and aesthetics matter.
For example, some people love the sleek minimalist design of MacBooks.
Right.
While others prefer the more customizable nature of Windows laptops.
It's all about personal preference.
And things like keyboard feel, trackpad responsiveness.
Oh, yeah.
And even the overall weight and size of the laptop
all important factors
can make a big difference in your day-to-day editing experience.
It's like choosing a comfortable chair for your editing desk.
Oh, yeah.
You wouldn't want something that's stylish but uncomfortable, right?
Exactly. So it's about finding that balance between functionality and feel.
I think so.
Now, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to remind everyone about the importance of user reviews.
Oh, yeah. User reviews are a goldmine of information.
They are. They can reveal insights that specs, sheets, and marketing materials just don't.
All the time.
Like that issue with the Dell Inspiron 15.
Right.
And its inconsistent performance.
User reviews can alert you to potential problems.
Exactly.
Or confirm that a laptop actually lives up to its hype.
And don't just rely on a single review either.
Good point.
Look for patterns in user feedback.
Yeah.
Across multiple platforms to get a well-rounded perspective.
Exact.
So before you click that buy button,
Yes.
Take some time to read what real users have to say about the laptop you're considering.
It's worth it.
It could save you from a lot of frustration down the road.
Absolutely. And remember, the perfect video editing laptop is out there.
It is.
It's just a matter of finding the one that best aligns with your needs, your budget, and your editing style.
All right. We're nearing the end of our deep dive. We've got one last thought-provoking question for you to ponder. We've talked about like all the technical stuff, processors, RAM, storage, but I'm curious, what do you think is like the most overlooked aspect when choosing a video editing laptop?
That's a good question. I think it's often the little ergonomic details get overlooked in the excitement of comparing specs.
Yeah, you get caught up in the numbers.
Exactly. But think about it. You're going to be spending hours hunched over this machine.
Right.
But comfort is key.
Oh, yeah, big time. It's like buying a pair of shoes. You might be drawn to the flashiest design, but if they pinch your toes, you're not going to be happy in the long run.
Exactly. A laptop with a great keyboard.
Yeah.
And a responsive, comfortable trackpad can make all the difference in your editing workflow.
It's the little things.
And don't forget about the display.
Oh, right. The display.
Screen size is important, of course.
Yeah.
But so is resolution and color accuracy.
Especially if you're doing color grading or any kind of visual effects work.
Absolutely. A high-resolution display with excellent color reproduction will ensure that your edits look their best.
Right.
And it can also reduce eye strain during those long editing sessions.
That's a good point. And let's not forget about audio.
Oh, yeah, good catch. You need decent speakers or headphones to accurately monitor your audio edits.
Some laptops have surprisingly good built-in speakers.
They do.
But you might want to consider investing in a good pair of headphones for, like, critical listening.
Yeah, that's a good idea, especially if you're working on professional projects.
They've got the ergonomics covered.
Yeah.
What about, like, the emotional side of things?
Oh, I like that.
I mean, a laptop is more than just a tool, right?
It is.
It's kind of an extension of your creative self.
I completely agree. There's something to be said for finding a laptop that inspires you, that feels good to use, that reflects your personal style.
It's like the difference between a sterile office cubicle and a cozy, personalized studio.
Right. The right environment can make a huge difference in your creativity and productivity.
Totally. And the right laptop can be a part of that.
Absolutely.
Oh.
So as you're going through this decision-making process, don't be afraid to factor in those intangible aspects.
How does it make you feel? Does it spark joy?
Those things matter. And one final thought to leave you with.
Okay.
Remember that technology is constantly evolving.
It never stops.
So don't get too hung up on having the absolute latest and greatest model.
Right.
Sometimes a slightly older machine can be a great value.
Yeah, especially if you're on a budget.
The most important thing is to find a laptop that meets your current needs.
Right.
And allows you to create your best work.
Wise words. All right, well, we've reached the end of our deep dive into the world of video editing laptops. We've explored a range of options from that powerhouse MacBook Pro to the budget-friendly HP newest Essential 15 and that innovative Asus ZenBook 13 Ultra Slim.
A lot of good choices out there.
We've talked about the technical specs, the ergonomic considerations, and even like the emotional aspects of choosing the right machine.
It's a big decision.
It is. Hopefully you're feeling a little more confident in your search for the perfect video editing laptop.
I hope so.
Remember, it's out there.
It is.
And with a little research and careful consideration, you'll find the one that's right for you.
Happy editing.
Happy editing. And be sure to check out the show notes for links to all the laptops we discussed and other helpful resources